ڈال یہاں رکھا ہو ادھر سے. السلام علیکم.
وعلیکم السلام.
کیا حال ہے آپ لوگوں کا؟ بس میں آپ لوگوں کے ساتھ ہوں. وانی اچھا دیکھو تمہارے پاس ہوگا کھول کے دیکھو. بس 5 منٹ میں شروع کرتے ہیں. ادھر سے آدھا. بھی لے جاؤ. دروازہ بند کر وہ بند کر. آپ لوگ سب ٹھیک ہیں؟
جی.
عائشہ، ایمان، معائشہ، قدسیہ، زید، روشن. ابھی 5 لوگ ہیں اور ابھی 3 منٹ باقی ہیں. شروع کرتے ہیں. قدسیہ، جرمنی میں موسم کیسا ہے؟
اچھا ہے، لیکن میں ابھی بھی اردو کی کلاس لے رہی ہوں.
ابھی بھی کلاس چل رہی ہے؟ اچھا اوکے. آپ کی کلاس اردو کی لمبی ہوتی ہے. کوئی بات نہیں. آپ جب آپ فارغ ہو جائیں گی تو پھر آپ جوائن کر لیجیے گا. اوکے. ہمیں چونکہ سب کا خیال رکھنا ہوتا ہے اس لیے ہم صحیح ٹائم پہ شروع کرتے ہیں. آپ میں سے کوئی مجھ سے بات کرنا چاہے تو کر سکتا ہے انفارملی before the class starts. You're welcome to speak if you like, if you want to have a question or you want to make a comment or suggestion, anything, you're more than welcome. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. السلام علیکم. ہم آج کی کلاس شروع کرنے لگے. Welcome to today's class on Sira. We finished with the year 2 of the Hijrah, that is when the year 2 Hijri finished, we recalled that it was the year when after Badr, after Ghazwa Badr, it for the first time the Prophet announced that we are going to hold the Eid congregation. We talked briefly about the Eid namaz last time, and you all remembered how the Eid namaz is performed. The question arises as to why is the Eid namaz or the prayers or fasting or Hajj, were these introduced by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, or they were there before the Prophet? I want to discuss this point in a little detail with you people. What do you think is the reality? Was Hajj going on when the Prophet started talking about Hajj and namaz and roza? Was there Hajj before him or not?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's other prophets.
Yes. That's the correct answer, because Islam has always been the same. Islam is the message brought by every messenger of God. The basic message, the basic pillars of Islam never changed. So Hajj and namaz and zakat, these are the rituals, these are the worships that were there even before the Prophet. But what Prophet did was, he wanted everyone, he wanted his nation, he wanted his qawm, he wanted his people to understand what wrong they were doing in case of Hajj, in case of namaz, and in case of roza, fasting. Arabs used to fast. They knew what fasting was, but they were not aware of fasting in Ramadan. And that Ramadan fasting was mandatory. It was a farz. If they did not fast in Ramadan, God would ask about them, ask about these rozas, and would be held accountable, and they'll be answerable for that. Prayers or namaz, salat, has always been part of Islam. When you declare that you believe in God, the first thing you are required to do is namaz. The first thing. When you declare that you are a Muslim, when you declare that you believe in the hereafter, when you believe in one God, the first thing is to act, is to declare or express your faith in actions. And that is expressed via namaz, is expressed through namaz. And the Prophet in his times made it very clear, and the Quran also stands with him while teaching it, that there are 5 times that we need to offer mandatory prayers. Farz namazeं हमें 5 पढ़नी है. नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने ये हमें सिखाया, और उन्होंने हमें ये भी बताया. ये मैं उन बच्चों के लिए उर्दू में कर रहा हूँ थोड़ा सा, ताकि वो बच्चे जो उर्दू में बेहतर समझते हैं वो मेरी बात समझ लें, क्योंकि बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स मुझे कहते हैं कि उर्दू में भी थोड़ी सी बात कर लिया करें. तो हज, ज़कात, रोज़े और नमाज, ये सब हुजूर से पहले भी था. इस्लाम में अल्लाह की इबादत हमेशा से थी. अल्लाह ने इबादत के तरीक़ों में पैगंबरों को ये बातें सिखाई थी. उन्होंने अपने ज़माने में लोगों को सिखाई, और उनके जाने के बाद जो लोग उनसे सीखे हुए थे, उन्होंने आने वालों को वो बातें सिखाई। तो हमें नमाज पहुंची है नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के सहाबा से, उनके कंपेनियन से, उन्होंने सिखाई, और उसके बाद उनके बाद वालों ने, उसके बाद उनके बाद वालों ने, और हमने फिर सीखी अपने टीचर से, अपने पेरेंट्स से नमाज सीखी। आप मुझे माफ कीजिएगा, मेरा गला अभी तक ठीक नहीं है, तो मुझे थोड़ी सी चाय पीनी पड़ती है साथ, तो आप प्लीज माइंड ना करें। और मुझे थोड़ी सी खांसी भी बीच में हो जाती है, आई एम सॉरी अबाउट दैट आइदर। आपको मैं बता ही रहा था कि ईद की नमाज का नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फिर ये ऐलान किया। अच्छा, ये बात याद रखें कि ईद की नमाज और जुमे की नमाज, आई थिंक वी हैव ओके, नो क्वेश्चन। तो ईद की नमाज और जुमे की नमाज, ये इसका ताल्लुक इस बात से है कि आप मुसलमान किसी जगह पर एक सोसाइटी की सूरत में ऑर्गेनाइज्ड हों, ये ज़रूरी है। मुसलमान जब एक सोसाइटी, एक नेशन, एक कलेक्शन ऑफ पीपल और एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल इन अ सब्सटैंशियल नंबर अवेलेबल हो, तब जुमे की और ईद की नमाज होती है। तो ईद की नमाज मक्के में नहीं होती थी, ईद की नमाज मदीने में होती थी। तो हुजूर ने ये नमाज दूसरे साल में हिजरत के बाद शुरू की। होप आई एम क्लियर अबाउट दिस, दैट द जुमा प्रेयर्स and the Eid prayers are meant for people who are organized in a society as a Muslim controlled areas where Muslims are in majority. There are organized community. When Muslims are not in an organized community, they should not be offering Jummah and Eid prayers. There is a difference of opinion on it, a little bit of difference of opinion, but the correct thing is that the Jummah and the Eid prayer are to be led by the leaders, the political leaders of Muslims. Please remember this. The Eid prayers and the Jummah prayers are to be led by the leaders of the Muslim community, the political leaders, not the religious leaders. ये उलमा का काम नहीं है, मौलवियों का काम नहीं है कि ईद की और जुमे की नमाज पढ़ाएं। ये काम पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स का है, जो लोगों के हुक्मरान हो। ये रूलर्स का राइट है। एंड दिस इज हाउ इस्लाम कनेक्ट्स द रूलर विद द कॉमन पर्सन, बिकॉज द रूलर देन हैज टू कम टू द मॉस्क every week, and he connects with them, he talks with them, and the people are there to make him accountable. The local leaders, wherever the namaz is held in Jummah and wherever the namaz is held in Eid prayers. So you should all remember this. Since most of you remain citizens of Western countries, we think that in Western countries, Muslims need to organize themselves in such a way that their leadership then arranges for the prayers, and it is done with that understanding that it is the Muslim leadership which gets connected with the Muslim community every Friday and every year after Ramzan on Eid and Bakr Eid morning. There are two Eids. There is the Eid al-Fitr, which comes after Ramzan, and there is Eid al-Azha, the Eid of the sacrifice. And there is Eid al-Fitr when there is the Sadqa al-Fitr. I'm going to tell you about Sadqa al-Fitr a little later. So please understand this and note this as an important thing. You might not find this in many of the Seerah books. Any questions on this, on the Eid prayers? Hope you all understand. Ramzan is just around the corner. And we record last time that Eid prayers are held in the form of 2 rakat. We go to a place, large open space, preferably, and the Imam offers 2 rakat. There is no takbir. Remember, there is no takbir for Eid prayers, and there is a khutbah. There is a sermon after the prayers, and exactly this kind of prayers are held after the 10th on the 10th of Zulhajj, 10th of Zulhajj, which is the day of the Hajj. The Hujjaj in Makkah perform the Hajj, in Hijaz they perform Hajj, and elsewhere around the world people offer Eid al-Azha. They sacrifice their animals and they offer the prayers. The prayers are offered first and the animals are sacrificed later. The people living in the Western countries usually cannot offer sacrifices as a routine, as a practice, for example, in their courtyard, because it is not allowed. So we have to follow the state law, and we have to see which place we can offer our sacrifices, and usually Muslims find some way to offer their sacrifices. So this was one important point which is related to year 2 of the post-Hijrah time. Any question about Eid and Jummah prayers? आप लोगों को मेरी बात समझ में आ रही है?
Yes.
कुदसिया अब आप आ गई हैं? कुदसिया आप उर्दू पढ़ रही हैं कि सीरा पढ़ रही हैं?
मैं अब सीरा पढ़ रही हूँ, मतलब जो आप पढ़ा रहे हैं।
अच्छा चलें, आपको अब ईद की नमाज और बकरीद की नमाज और रमज़ान के बारे में और ईद ये जो आम नमाजों के बारे में, ज़कात के बारे में मैंने ये बताया है कि ये सब चीज़ें नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से पहले दीन इस्लाम के तौर पर मौजूद थी। नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में जो गलतियाँ हो रही थी उनको ठीक कर दिया। आपने नमाज का ठीक तरीक़ा, रोज़े का ठीक तरीक़ा, हज का ठीक तरीक़ा बयान कर दिया और उसको करके भी दिखा दिया, उसको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट भी कर दिया। जो प्रैक्टिकल चीज़ें होती हैं दीन में उनको क्या कहते हैं? उसका एक ख़ास नाम है। जो चीज़ें करने की होती हैं, जिनको हम करते हैं, और नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने जिनको खुद से किया और उनको सिखाया, उनको उनके लिए एक टर्म है इस्लाम की, उसको क्या कहते हैं? कुदसिया बेगम आप बताएं उनको क्या कहते हैं?
मुझे नहीं पता।
क्यों नहीं पता आपको? और किसी को पता है? मैं फिर से बताता हूँ आपको। नमाज, ज़कात, हज और वो सब चीज़ें जो प्रैक्टिकल चीज़ें होती हैं उन्हें रसूल सिखाते हैं, प्रैक्टिकली डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करके सिखाते हैं और उनको तरीक़ा बताते हैं कि किस तरह करना है, उसका मेथड बताते हैं, उसका सीक्वेंस बताते हैं, उसका टाइमिंग बताते हैं, उसकी कंडीशंस बताते हैं। तो उसे क्या कहते हैं?
अब मुझे आपकी सवाल की समझ आई। सुन्नत?
हाँ, शाबाश शाबाश शाबाश, आई एम ग्लैड। ठीक है ना? आप समझ गई हैं कि सुन्नत क्या चीज होती है। ठीक है ना? कुरान इज वर्ड ऑफ गॉड and sunnah is the practical way that the prophet prescribed us, taught us, demonstrated, and which is recorded in various places and is transmitted through generation after generation until it came to us, and we today know how we can offer Jummah, how we can offer Eid, how we can offer zakat, and how we can fast. ठीक है? Hope you all got my point. So we move ahead. Before we start talking about Ghazwa Uhud, happened in the 3rd year of Hijrah. This was the most important event of that year. Ghazwa Uhud and Ghazwa Badr were two most important of the battles that the Prophet was himself participating, and this happened almost back-to-back years. And the reason was simple: the Quraysh did not accept Maisha. Raised hand. Maisha Begum, आप क्या चाहती हैं? बताइए, आप क्या चाहती?
I was out of the class. I just joined back in. What were you talking about like before? Because I didn't get to hear it because I had some problems with my iPad.
Okay, well, already 16 minutes have passed. Just try to summarize what I've been telling the class last 16 minutes. The main point that I discussed was the fact that in year 2, Prophet prescribed the way to offer the Eid prayers for the first time. But we must remember that all prayers like namaz, hajj, zakat, and fasting, they were always present in the content of Islam, in the teachings of every prophet. What Prophet Muhammad did was to rearrange it in a correct manner. He taught us and the people around him about the correct ways, its conditions, the best ways, and he demonstrated it by doing it himself, practically doing it. He did Umrah, he did Hajj, he fasted, he offered namaz by Jamaat, he offered namaz at individual level, he offered namaz at home, he offered namaz at the mosque. So this is how he taught these things, and all practical things taught by the Prophet are called sunnah. Sunnat. आपने लफ्ज सुना होगा. है मायशा ही थी ना आप जिन्होंने मुझसे सवाल किया अभी. So this was you're most welcome. Hope you got my point. And then we moved on.
Yes, I did.
And then we moved on, and we were about to begin the discussion on Ghazwa Uhud. Ghazwa Uhud is being discussed in Quran, in Ahadith, in Sirah books, and is one of the most important events where Muslims were taught many lessons. The cause of the Ghazwa, the Quraysh were not at all happy because they were defeated. They lost their top brass. All the leadership were wiped off, and they wanted to take the revenge. So they were preparing for it, and Muslims were all also expecting that they would not sit quietly. Because if they sat quietly, it meant that the Muslims were going to get stronger. If the Muslims got stronger, it meant that the Kaaba, or the custodianship of the Kaaba, was in danger. The Quraysh, or the custodians of Kaaba, knew that their rulers, their rule on Kaaba, or the city of Makkah, or the territory of Hijaz, was because they were custodians of Kaaba. If Muslims, who also thought that it was God's mosque, it was their haram also, so they knew that if they ignored Muslims, they were going to get stronger, and they were going to come and attack them. So they wanted to do everything possible to retaliate and try to annihilate Muslims and to try to finish them off in every possible way they could manage. Prophet's uncle, whose name was Abbas. His name was Abbas. He did not embrace Islam, but he had sympathy and he loved the Prophet. He embraced Islam much later, in the 8th year, when Makkah was conquered. But in the year 3, he informed the Prophet that the Quraysh are now trying to attack Makkah and you should be ready. So it was nice of him that he informed the Prophet, and then the Prophet sent a couple of people. And in fact, Prophet was always watchful of this fact that Quraysh might attack them. So he sent out the forces to find out their preparation or their position or their or their readiness as to where they were landing and what time we were going to attack them. So it became evident that it was a serious threat and they were approaching Medina. Like always, the Prophet did not make decisions without consultation. He sat down with his companions and wanted to have their opinion as to where the Muslim army should defend itself, whether it should be done within the city or they should go out and meet the enemy out in the field. It is said that most of the younger people wanted to go out and fight. And more of the mature people, they wanted to remain within the city and wanted to, somehow limit themselves in the forts. They had fort-like buildings where they thought they could defend themselves well, as long as they had supplies, the edibles, and all the essential things you need to survive. So the debate went on, and soon after, Abdullah ibn Ubay, who was the famous munafiq, remember his name, he embraced Islam superficially, but he did not accept Islam by heart. So within his heart, he was not a Muslim. He was a traitor. And almost everyone knew it. But since he was in the meeting and he wanted to remain and fight within the city, so having listened to him and listened to everybody else, the Prophet went inside his house and came back with his armor. He had his helmet and his steel armor that he used to wear to protect themselves from the sword and spears. So there was kind of a dissatisfaction among people that they probably were rather insistent, and they should have listened to the Prophet, his own opinion. So they were rather remorseful. They thought they had displeased the Prophet, and they would have listened to him. But the Prophet answered, well, when the Prophet wears his armor, there is no going back. So let's go out. We are meeting the enemy out in the field. So this was an important thing. And here we must learn this extraordinary quality of the Prophet. And this quality teaches us a great lesson, is to consult. The Prophet had a hotline with God. He would always find out what was the best way. But he always took advice from his companions. Always took advice. he consulted, and he encouraged people to speak up. Yes, unlike today's leadership, where they do not like to be criticized or to receive opinions or to listen to a debate. But the Prophet, 1500 years ago, was such a democratic person. He was such a person who would always seek advice and would listen to it and would always follow the majority's advice. But this is unusually extraordinary. You must always remember this as a great habit of the Prophet. There has never been an incident in Prophet's life when he wanted an advice and acted against it. So Qudsiya, یہ میں ان لوگوں کو بتا رہا ہوں کہ بدر کے موقع پہ تو مشورہ حضور نے کیا تھا، اسی طرح سے احد کے موقع پہ بھی مشورہ کیا کہ ہم لڑائی شہر کے اندر رہ کے کریں گے کہ ہم لڑائی شہر کے باہر جا کے کریں گے. یہ پتہ چل گیا تھا کہ دشمن مدینے کے قریب پہنچ گیا اور دشمن اب اٹیک کرنے والا ہے، تو یہ فیصلہ اب کرنا ضروری ہو گیا تھا. اس ڈسکشن میں عبداللہ ابن ابی کا کہنا تھا کہ شہر کے اندر رہ کے قلعے میں، فورٹ قلعے کو کہتے ہیں نا، تو قلعے میں ہم رہیں اور وہاں سے مقابلہ کریں. اور اسی طرح سے بہت سارے دوسرے جو لوگ تھے، جو ینگ لوگ تھے، جو بدر میں جنہوں نے بہت اچھی لڑائی لڑی تھی، بہت لوگوں کو انہوں نے ہرا دیا تھا اور انہوں نے بڑی زبردست جنگ جیتی تھی، ان کا خیال تھا کہ نہیں، ہم اس دفعہ پھر باہر جائیں گے، ہم بدر کی طرح لڑائی لڑیں گے اور ہم جیت جائیں گے. اور اس وقت رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اندر تشریف لے گئے اور آپ نے جا کے اپنا جنگ کا لباس پہنا. اس کو زرہ کہتے ہیں اردو میں، زرہ، انگریزی میں اس کو آرمر کہتے ہیں. آپ وہ پہن کے آ گئے اور آپ نے کہا کہ اب پیغمبر جب لباس پہن لیتے ہیں جنگ کا تو پھر وہ اپنا ارادہ بدلتے نہیں، تو آؤ چلے اب ہم باہر جا کے ان کا مقابلہ کریں. تو یہ ایک امپورٹنٹ بات تھی کہ پیغمبر ہر موقع پر مشورہ کرتے تھے، اور پیغمبر کا مشورہ کرنا ان کی زندگی بھر رہا. کبھی ایسا نہیں ہوا کہ پیغمبر نے مشورہ کیا ہو اور میجورٹی کا فیصلہ نہ مانا، ہمیشہ انہوں نے ایسے کیا. یہ اس میں ہمارے لیے بہت سبق ہے. جمعے کا دن تھا جب تقریباً 1000 لوگوں کے ساتھ حضور مدینے سے نکلے. اس سے 1 سال پہلے صرف 313 لوگ جمع ہوئے تھے اور اب تقریباً 1000 لوگ جمع ہو گئے. اور یہ معلوم ہوتا ہے کہ اسی طرح ینگ بچے، چھوٹی عمر کے بچے، ارلی ٹینز کے بہت سارے بچے جنگ میں آنا چاہتے تھے. رسول اللہ نے ان کو منع کیا، بہتوں کو گھر بھیج دیا، لیکن بہت سارے بچوں نے کہا کہ مجھے تیر چلانا آتا ہے، کسی نے کہا میں کشتی کر سکتا ہوں، اور کسی نے اپنے آپ کو بڑا دکھایا. حضور نے کچھ کو موقع دے دیا. لیکن this just reflects how exuberant and how excited the young Muslims were to fight against the enemies of Islam. And they knew that they might end up in their deaths. This was a war where people get killed. But even then, they knew that if they are killed in the way of God with the Prophet, there can't be any better death than this. You become a shaheed. So there was a lot of excitement. Hazrat Musab bin Umair was made leader of the Muslims, and that special flag was handed over to him, the special flag of the Muslim army. You remember, he was the first of the people who came to Medina. The Prophet sent to him before he migrated to teach the Medina people. You remember him? He was a Qurayshi person. He was a Mahajir. He was an immigrant. He came from Makkah, and he came from Makkah before the Prophet. And he taught Islam and propagated the message and converted a large number of the Arabs of Medina to become Muslims. So embraced Islam because of Hazrat Musab bin Umair Raziyallah anhu. Now, in Uhud, the most important thing is the mountain of Uhud. Badr was a field. It was a plain ground. Badr was not a mountain, but Uhud is a mountain. Remember this. And the Prophet chose a place where he had the mountain on the backside of the Lashkar, of the backside of the Muslim army. He placed the Muslim army in such a way that the Muslim army was in front and Uhud was on its back. So it was kind of a cover that Muslim could not be attacked from behind. But there was one portion of Uhud which was still open. It was a deficient area. The Muslims were in front, Uhud on their back, but on one side it was open. So the Prophet, knowing that weakness, appointed 50 archers. You know who archers are? People who have bow and arrow, and they are specialist people to defend through archery using their bow and arrow. 50 people. Of that 1,000 people, 50 people were deputed there. And the Prophet advised them not to move from there at all, at any cost, unless the Prophet himself wanted them to just disperse or do something else. They were just stationed there. They were not allowed to move. They had to remain there throughout. This was an important, very important, significant order by the commander of the Muslim army, led by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And it was this 50 archers who made a very serious mistake, which caused a lot of problems for Muslims. Anybody who remembers what happened because of those 50 archers?
They left the place they were supposed to be at.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, please repeat.
They left the place they were supposed to be at. They left their post.
They left the place before time, before the battle finished. And what happened?
We lost.
No, what actual? How did we lose?
Because the enemies escaped.
Please say again.
The enemies escaped.
No, enemy did not escape.
Did they start collecting stuff? Like getting the people's?
Yes. What actually happened? Why did they leave their place? And what happened when they left their place? And who was that famous person who led the attack from behind? Very famous commander who became Muslim later on.
Abu Sufyan?
No. Any other guess? The last of his name is Walid.
Khalid bin Walid.
Khalid bin Walid, yes, Khalid bin Walid. The famous Muslim warrior, commander, extraordinary soldier. You know, there was nobody like him. And he was such an outstanding commander that he knew what weakness was there. So he waited for the right moment. He waited for the right moment. And he attacked as soon as Muslims left the place, the 50 archers. But, you know, that is a later thing. Initially, what happened was that the Muslims fought, and they fought exceptionally well. Ali, Zubair, Umar, Abu Dujana, you know, they were famous people who you know, they like always, they were heroes, and they fought like heroes. And Muslims generally thought that they had won the war. And when the war is won, in those days, the enemy runs away, leaving behind all the stuff that they have. So the 50 archers thought, 50 archers thought that the war is finished, we have won, and the enemy has fled. So they left their place. And while they were collecting the Mali Ghanimat, they call it Ghanimat. Ghanimat in Arabic and also in Urdu. It's called what do you call it? Bounty, no? War booty. They were collecting war booty, the leftover all stuff. And while they were busy in collecting them, Khalid bin Walid attacked, and there was just chaos, serious chaos. Muslims could not believe that there's something could have happened like that. They never thought this would occur. They were just confused because they all look alike. There are no, they don't wear uniforms, so that you could not recognize. Some of them were wearing helmets, and they could only see eyes. It was sometimes very difficult to recognize one another. So it is reported that the different rows of Muslims started killing one another. They thought it was enemy. However, it was not enemy. And the famous Sahabi, Hazrat Huzaifa, you know, he was yelling. And people from the Muslims, they killed his father, whose name was Yaman. His name was Yaman. Huzaifa bin Yaman. So Yaman was his father. The Muslims thought he was an enemy. And in that confusion, in that mayhem, in that chaos, you know, everything got so bizarre that they started killing one another. And not only this, a couple of more serious accidents happened. One lesser serious accident was the death of, or shahada of, Hazrat Hamza. Who was Hamza? Who was Hamza?
नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के चचा
चचा थे, उनके चचा थे, और वो हुजूर के एज शेख थे, हुजूर की उम्र के थे, और वो हुजूर के एक तरह से भाई भी थे, इसलिए कि उन दोनों ने, हुजूर ने हमारे हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने और हजरत जुबैर ने एक ही औरत का दूध पिया हुआ था। उस जमाने में आपको मैंने बताया था, अरब के अंदर there were maids who would feed the children. Mothers would not like to feed their own children. You know, every culture has its own peculiarities. So mothers in those days would not feed their children. People would engage maids who would feed them, and they were paid for this. So it was Sobia. Sobia was a maid who fed the Prophet as well as Hazrat Hamza. So in that way, they were brothers also. But he was also his uncle. He was his father's younger brother from a different mother. but the Prophet used to love him because he was a very brave person. He was kind of a a person who was he had learned the art of horse riding and sword and spear. He mastered all these crafts, and in those days, people who were good at these crafts and these skills were generally respected. He was a very brave person. So Prophet used to love him. And you remember once when the Prophet was being teased by Abu Jahl, it was Hazrat Hamza who went out and he stopped Abu Jahl, and the Prophet said to him, "Thank you very much, Hamza. I'm glad that you helped me, but I'll be very happy if you embraced Islam." So at that moment he embraced Islam because he loved the Prophet so much. So he embraced Islam on the Prophet's desire, and as he came into the ranks of Muslims are really happy because he's such a strong, brave person. You know what happened here is that Hamza in the Battle of Badr killed a lot of Quraysh people, and he had become a villain for them. So Abu Sufyan's wife, whose name was Hind, her name was Hind. And who was daughter of Utbah. He was daughter of Utbah, and Utbah was a famous leader of Quraysh who was killed by Hamza, and she wanted to take this revenge. She hired a person whose name was Wahshi, who was a black slave. A black slave of Jubair. Let me check this name if I remember it correctly. So Jubair, slave Jubair. And Jubair was also killed by Hamza. So she approached the family and the son, and he asked Vashi to kill Hamza in a secret way, in a way not in open war, kind of, one-to-one, face-to-face war, but in kind of when you can do a ambush-like thing, and you attack when someone is not aware, just to, caught him unaware. So he prepared a special spear. It's a small spear. And he soaked it in poison. And these Africans used to use them in wars. So when during the war, Hind was also there. Women used to go with their men, to back up them and to support them, morally, and by helping them with the water, and with helping them with the injured, doing some cooking and supplying some food, all those general help. So the big thing that they used to do was to encourage them. They would sing those songs, war songs, and that would help the men to fight more aggressively. So Hind was there, and she made sure that Vahshi executed his operation through his special spear, and and she offered Vahshi that she would release him, she would free him from slavery. So this was a big incentive for him if he killed Hamza. So while Hamza was successfully slaughtering these kuffars and the people of Quraysh, and Muslims were dominating. So this person, Vahshi, he hid behind a rock, and then he threw his spear, and that pierced Hazrat Hamza radiallahu anhu, and he then fell. And since it was already soaked with poison, it caused his shahada. So, that was one very important death, because the Prophet loved him, and he was a very important soldier of the Muslim. He was a hero, he was a leader, and Muslims were demoralized. And when the Prophet learned about him, he was really sad, very, very sad. and the other important thing which happened as an accident was that after that mayhem of the attack by Khalid bin Walid, there was a rumor that probably the Prophet has been killed. There was a rumor. And that happened because Hazrat Musab bin Umair was killed. And Hazrat Musab bin Umair somehow resembled the Prophet. And when people are wearing armors, and when they are injured, and when their body is blood soaked, and they are, it's difficult sometimes to remember, to recognize the faces. So the people, when learnt about the possibility of Prophet's death, then everyone just lost heart, and they just thought that everything is finished. It's not just the war; it's their life, it's their world. Everything is finished. There was no point in making any struggle. So at that time, everything looked really bleak and dark, and despair, was at very high level, and Muslims were really hopeless. And somebody, somehow somebody just traced the Prophet, who was on one side, and people were not able to see him. And then he raised his voice and said, "Well, the Prophet is alive. The Prophet is alive." But it was too late. It was too late. People used to, people at that time already had left their arms, they threw their sword, and they were not fighting. And Kuffar, seeing that Muslims were defeated, they started winding up, and they started to go away. They thought the Muslims, they killed the Prophet, and they killed the leadership like Hamza and Musab bin Umair and other people. So they thought they had won the war, and they wanted to just leave the field. At that time, when the Prophet was traced, and Prophet was found, and people then clustered around him, but there were not many. There were not many. So as soon as the kuffar, as soon as the Quraysh came to know that the Prophet was not slaughtered, he was not killed, he was still alive, they just came back and wanted to attack him. And it was an unfortunate thing happened that a famous warrior of the Quraysh warrior attacked the Prophet with a sword, and he attacked his helmet. He hit him in his head, and the helmet of the steel helmet, somehow got stuck in Prophet's forehead, and he started bleeding. That was a very painful moment for the Prophet and for the companions. So it was so unfortunate that many people immediately encircled the Prophet and wanted to save him, and many other companions were at that time embraced Shahada. So it was a very fierce moment of the war, and the Prophet was, of course, God was willing, and God didn't want him to die at that time. God saved him and saved whosoever God wanted. But at least 70 of the Muslim people among the Muslim army embraced Shahada on that day. 70. There were only 300 people 1 year ago, and they lost only 14 people. And this time there were 1,000 people, and they lost 70 of those Muslims. This was a big casualty number. Big casualty number. So I finished my class here, and there are only 7-8 minutes left. We can finish the Ghazwa Uhud in our next class, discussing some other points also. So if there are any questions as to Ghazwa Badr related questions, or related to Sunnah, or related to Namaz, Zakat, and Eid prayers. So I'm here, available. Hope you remember these difficult names. Some of the important names I try to write in the chat box. It's not easy to remember, but just try and remember the important ones first. And as you grow old and you read some good Sira books, you'll find all these names, hopefully. I'm glad some of you knew Khalid bin Walid and knew what happened in ग़ज़वा उहुद. मैं कुदसिया के लिए बहुत जल्दी से उर्दू में बता देता हूँ. जब हज़रत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के कहने के बावजूद लोगों ने वो दर्रा छोड़ दिया, उसको उर्दू में दर्रा कहते हैं, जो पहाड़ के अंदर एक जगह होती है, जो डेफिशिएंट सी जगह होती है, वो पीछे से हज़रत खालिद बिन वलीद ने अटैक कर दिया, जहाँ पर हुजूर ने 50 तीर अंदाज़ों को, तीर अंदाज होते हैं जिनको आर्चर्स कहते हैं अंग्रेजी में, जिनके पास तीर कमान और तीर एरो होता है, और वो होती है कमान, तीर कमान, और उनको आर्चर्स कहते हैं, और जो तीर इस्तेमाल करते हैं उनको तीर अंदाज कहते हैं. तो वो 50 लोगों को वहाँ रखा था. हजरत, उनका सहाबी का नाम भी जुबैर था मेरे ख्याल में. उन्होंने बहुत कोशिश की, उन्होंने अपनी जगह नहीं छोड़ी. उनके लीडर थे, उनकी जगह उन्होंने नहीं छोड़ी थी. वो बेचारे शहीद हो गए, उनकी बात किसी ने नहीं सुनी, और लोग जंग का सामान लूटने की कोशिश करते रहे. और मैं ये बता रहा था कि 2 बातें हुई हैं जो बहुत बड़े हादसे थे. हजरत हमजा शहीद हुए, जिनको वहशी ने शहीद किया, जिनको हिंद ने कहा था, जो अबू सुफियान की बीवी थी, और जो उनके वालिद उतबा को और एक और आदमी को, जो उस वहशी के पुराने मालिक थे, उनको बदर में मारा था हजरत हमजा ने. उसका बदला लेने के लिए उन्होंने वहशी को हायर किया, और वहशी ने छुप के उनको शहीद कर दिया. और दूसरी जो परेशानी की बात थी, रसूलुल्लाह की शहादत की खबर थी. हजरत मुसअब बिन उमैर, चूंकि उनकी शक्ल हुजूर से मिलती थी, और जाहिर है कि जंग में आपने लिबास पहना हुआ होता है, ख़ास तरह का आपने ज़रा पहनी हुई होती है, सर पे खुद पहना हुआ होता है, उसको हेलमेट कहते हैं अंग्रेज़ी में। तो आपको सही तरह पहचान नहीं होती, लोगों ने समझा कि हुजूर का इंतकाल हो गया, हुजूर शहीद हो गए। लेकिन उसकी वजह से नुकसान ये हुआ कि अगर तो हुजूर शहीद नहीं हुए थे, लेकिन उसकी वजह से लोगों में भगदड़ मच गई, एक लोग परेशान हो गए और एक दूसरे को उन्होंने मारना शुरू कर दिया। इसके नतीजे में 70 सहाबा शहीद हुए, जो बहुत बड़ी तादाद। ये दो वाक़यात पेश आए, हुजूर को अल्लाह ने महफूज रखा, लेकिन हुजूर जख्मी हुए क्योंकि हुजूर पर अटैक भी किया गया। तो ये मैंने मुख्तसर उर्दू में भी बता दिया आपको। अब आपका कोई ज़रूरी सवाल है तो आप कर लें, वरना हम थोड़ी देर में छुट्टी कर लेते हैं। कोई सवाल नहीं है? अरे भाई, कोई सवाल तो होना चाहिए। नो क्वेश्चंस? बच्चिया, आपको सारी बात समझ में आ गई?
जी मेरे ख्याल में।
अगर कोई शुबा है तो कर लें, अभी मेरे पास 5 मिनट है, हम बात कर सकते हैं। अगर कोई बात पूछनी है तो पूछ लें।
नहीं नहीं ठीक है।
अच्छा, मायशा, जैद रोशन, ईशल, आमना, अहमद जावेद, राफे, भाई आपका कोई सवाल नहीं? सॉरी अबाउट माय coughing. Pray for me, please. Shaheed a little more. Who is a Shaheed? The word Shaheed means a witness. Thank you. Thank you, Amar. Shaheed means a witness. What we are required as a Muslim is to give evidence that we believe through our belief and through our action. Right? We are required to exhibit and demonstrate that we are true Muslims. So when we when we offer our life for Allah's sake, this is the biggest of the actions to give this evidence that we believe in Allah, we believe in His Prophet, and we live and we die for our deen and die for Allah. So this is an evidence, and this is being a witness. Being a witness is called a shaheed. Is that clear? अहमद साहब, आपको बात समझ में आ गई? Shaheed, we call everybody who dies in the way of Allah a shaheed, considering that he did his best, his or her best, to demonstrate his faith by his action of offering the best he could by offering his life. There is no bigger thing. So he is named as a martyr, as a shaheed, by giving his life, hoping that he will be awarded or she will be awarded Jannah as a reward, as as an outcome of his all actions, all good actions, paradise being his reward. तो ये मतलब है भाई. Thank you very much, Ishal. Thanks for your prayers. I really need them. It's been more than 5 weeks that I have had this bad cough and bad throat. I'm trying my best to take any medicines or whatever is going on. So All the best to all of you. See you next week, inshallah. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
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 Hafiz. Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz, beta. Khuda Hafiz.
Lafis.
Khuda Hafiz.